And we're live.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Capes and Commentaries. I'm Tyler Baker. With me, as always, Nasty Nate Kennedy. Nathan, we doing all right today on this miserable-looking Saturday?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. I saw a thing actually that was kind of interesting. We last weekend the weather was good, and that was the first time that we had a weekend where it didn't rain since like September or something. And so it's like we're 2 months in, and it's just every weekend it's you got to have a shitty weather day. Hopefully tomorrow is better, but yeah, today's a good day to just stay inside and
watch cartoons,
play video games, and yeah, it's a bummer, man. Like the shopping season's in full force now because we've passed Thanksgiving, and now everyone is going to panic about what the hell they're going to get their Aunt Judy for Christmas. So it's going to be annoying. It's like every time you go out, it's just people. It's just tons of people everywhere, and I'm shop online, support small businesses.
Yeah.
Today is Small Business Saturday, so.
And unfortunately, there's no decent small businesses to justify going to around here. Otherwise, I would do that consistently, but we don't.
Yeah.
You know, the stores that are around here, like there's nothing in these like ridiculously expensive mom and pop clothing stores or trinket shops that you just feel like I am not going to go in there and spend close to $100 on stuff total.
Yeah,
I mean, who's going to get any use out of the stuff that we have? You know, I blame that on our area too.
I might actually go to that video game station place that
you
go and stock up. Yeah, I might go in there and see what all he's got going on. Because the last time I went in his store, he had just opened and didn't have any. He did have he had Demolition Man on Sega CD. I'm like, yeah, that's badass.
Last time I was there, which was over the summertime, like he had, his Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega, Atari, all the stuff was in full force, like set up beautifully in the glass case and on the shelves. I mean, it was a fantastic setup. So, Super Game Station. There's a plug for anybody who happens to wander through Radford, Virginia.
Yeah, and then just support the small businesses online. There's plenty of shirt shops that like sometimes people are like, oh, hey man, cool shirt. Where the hell did you get that at? Local Boogeyman. That's a good place. Cavity Colors. Rotten Cotton is a good place to get like a lot of horror shirts. I feel like I'm missing somebody.
I'll say Redbubble if you want something customized or something. Maybe that's probably not really a small business, but if you like, crazy obscure designs of 80s cartoons and movies and stuff like that, you want it on a tank top, you want it on a baseball tee, you can get it done there.
Electric Zombie, that's another one. Just to plug a few sites. That's not like hey, we got an email. Hey, guess what, guys?
We're sponsored now. One's giving us any kind of advertising.
yeah. We're just free advertising. Yeah. Hello to Febmon, who's joined us live. Thanks for popping in. Checking out the live show. But we're talking about we're back to G.I. Joe again, but we're talking about the Traitor, which is a two-parter that we're just gonna do both parts.
Yeah, we'll just play them consistently. We're on the G.I. Joe DVD.
Yeah, and we'll kind of give a small break in between the episodes. I put the links down below for both parts 1 and 2. Kind of checked them out a little bit. They seem okay. Obviously, with Daily Motion, there will be ads, so be prepared for getting hit with those.
If you want to watch it that way, otherwise you should be watching on DVD. Like us too. So you got to support the hard copies of G.I. Joe, He-Man, She-Ra, Thundercats, Transformers.
I'm kind of surprised that there haven't been more re-releases of these old shows. Because those sets would come out, and we've had a couple, but I'm surprised that they haven't done it again.
They've done it with G.I. Joe like twice, but I guess because G.I. Joe is just not on anybody's radar right now until the Snake Eyes movie that's been announced. If it does come to fruition,
wait, what?
They have announced a solo Snake Eyes film. I think to start filming possibly, I think in March. Kind of like with Bumblebee.
Yeah.
So that's all that's been said is that Paramount and Lorenzo de Bonaventura, who was the producer on the other 2 G.I. Joe films, which doesn't sound too good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, you would have to have another character in there because, I mean, yes, while the central focus will be on Snake Eyes, he's also a mute character. So
I still think, hey, if people can enjoy silent films and movies with subtitles and stuff like that, you can get away with. G.I. Joe fans will show up to watch a Snake Eyes movie. I will show up to watch a Snake Eyes movie, permitting it's not something that's dumbed down for the substandard mainstream audience who doesn't know jack shit about anything related to G.I. Joe.
I'm already not expecting much. I mean, as long as Channing Tatum's in there, then I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, as long as he's break dancing and has that pubescent mustache. And,
hey, now I'll take offense to that because my mustache sucks.
No, but he has got a pubescent mustache, and he sucks at everything. So, but given that the G.I. Joe universe is so vast, as we will see in these 2 episodes, there's no reason why you can just ignore and should ignore those first 2 films and give us Tomax and Xamon, give us another Cobra Commander, give us Slice and Dice, give us Tunnel Rat, give us well, I don't care if you redo characters that came before too. I mean, frankly, they all stunk anyway. So I just, there's room to make a good G.I. Joe movie. Whether they do it, probably not.
No, it's kind of brought up in the chat slightly too. Like I think with how PC the world is and everything now, like I think if they did a G.I. Joe movie, I think it would have to almost be like a grindhousey kind of exploitation thing.
I wish they would set it in the 80s or something like that. Yeah. Like it doesn't have to be something modern day,
I would prefer it to be there too, but it would also have to be very just like over the top, like the cartoon.
Which, it probably should be, but it should be taken itself seriously. Don't go over the top and make sure you're like, hey, we're in on the joke, people. No, go balls to the wall, crazy action. Snake Eyes taking out dozens of ninjas. Throw us Slice and Dice, or throw us, a new Storm Shadow. Throw us, T-Jabang, Dojo, people from the Ninja Force, Nunchuck. I don't know. There's some there. I mean, give us. If you just stop and think, I could, Big Boa, Crystal Ball, Crocmaster. Give us the Dreadnoks, the full-on Dreadnoks. Make them the bad guys of the film. Give an actual Zartan, not just Arnold Vosloo walking around in a ball cap. Give us, Buzzer and Torch and Ripper and Road Pig and Xandar and Zarana and Zanzibar, Thrasher. Give us all of it. So, but let's get going here, because otherwise we turn the whole podcast into a rant and a raving about what Paramount should do and probably what they will do.
Well, I mean, I fully expect us to do that as we watch the show.
Yeah.
But Todd, if you want to go ahead and give us a countdown, guys, in the chat live, make sure you hit those links below. And I mean, obviously the ads will probably kick in, so you might be a little bit behind with this, but feel free to watch along, because this is this is a cool set of episodes. I like the.
I was very curious because I'm like, it's really story driven.
Yeah, but I like that they went there.
Yeah,
for a kid's cartoon,
it's pretty ballsy, because it's something that me and my brother liked a lot when they would play in syndication. We're like, oh, the Traitor's on, because we were never really big fans of Dusty to begin with, but watching this episode made you appreciate Dusty in this, especially in this situation, because of like they're actually pushing the boundaries of like making him. We'll get into it.
So we'll get into it. But without further ado, Tyler, give us that countdown. We'll get it going.
All right, man. Let's ready to kick some Cobra ass here. 3, 2, 1, play. Glorious intro here. And there were so many great intros, but this is probably one of the best, if not the best. Cool shot of Zartan there. And this, just seeing Quick Kick and Snake Eyes take on Tomax and Zam. Man, just this intro, all the intros always felt like they could be a complete episode in their own. And throwing in, Footloose, Roadblock. I mean, you throw in cameos all over the place. You got the Sharks in action here, the Cobra Rattler, and there's Dusty. Now, all we've done so far is the first run of G.I. Joe cartoons by the Sunbow and Marvel. We probably I'm sure maybe at some point we'll get around to doing the Deke Productions cartoon, which is not that, doesn't hold up. But when you watch this, are you still not as familiar with some of the characters? Are you?
I mean, it sort of comes and goes. Like, obviously the names escape me, but when I see them, I'm like, oh yeah, I know the look of that guy. I just don't know his name.
And that's why I'm here. But what was of the first episode here? Looking back at it, like what was your first impression? Because I guess you probably didn't see this as a kid. This 2-parter
episode. I probably did see this as a kid. It's just no recollection of it. Because I watched all the episodes of Ninja Turtles, but I bet there's going to be like a time we pick something. I'm like, I don't remember this at all, but I did see it. I no like childhood recollection of this. Period.
What about Tomax and Zaymont? Because to me, I always liked the Crimson Twins. I thought as a kid, I thought they were such pompous pricks, but it was always like anybody. I always thought anybody that showed at the War for Cobra was always cold in my eyes, but they were so pompous though. And I think, this is where I think they really showcase that they both can feel each other's pain. If one's in pain, the other one can feel it too.
Well, and we'll see it here when they're at their offices in their business suits and the way that they answer the phone. And no, they're cool characters.
Yeah, I love them. I would love to see them in a movie if it was done right, because given that their mercenary background and their dealings is how they handle money, and it's if you ever like their file card, it's been a while since I've read it, but it's a pretty interesting file card like of their background, and that they are very skilled mercenaries. They're smart, they're great with money, they're great at laundering money, and just great businessmen, and just that they run the corporate front for Cobra, Extensive Enterprises. Like I just feel like that's something that would be so much fun to dig into in a movie. This massive company that cannot be exploited or thrown out or exposed, so to speak. That they run such a tight ship that G.I. Joe knows it's run by Cobra. They just can't prove it's run by Cobra. Like I just like that, and it's always like in this episode, like when they approach Dusty, like I know you guys work for Cobra. Can you tell which one's which?
No.
Okay, yeah. Zaymont is the one with the scar.
Okay.
I just thought I'd flex my intellect there. Thought I'd let you know.
So the premise going here at the beginning is just the Joes have this technology that it's like they can put stuff on their vehicles and what have you that is impervious to weapons. So as we just saw, stuff hit that tank and nothing happened, and Cobra Commander got very upset.
Which never gets old. Listening to Chris Latta just really just go for the Oscar in his rants and raves as Cobra Commander. I always thought Dusty's mom reminded me of my mama.
And this is where the meat and potatoes of the story lies. Dusty has visiting his mom. She's behind on her bills. She's not doing well health-wise.
And of course, the creditors show up to put salt on the wound here. And this is none of this went over my head as a kid. Like you kind of feel like, because they do a lot of there are certain episodes that involve like the Joes families and things like that. But this is a little more in depth in terms of like just dealing with one family going into the relatable problems that I'm sure as kids watching this, you probably overhear issues like this. So you don't feel like this is out of reach for a children's action adventure show.
So it's like she gets pissed off, hops up out of her wheelchair, and then passes out. But I mean, Dusty, I know you got a good heart, as we'll see, but the co-signing on loans that'll get you in trouble every time.
Yes, it does. And of course, threatening to beat the guy up, not the best thing, but when you come in and irritate his mom like that, I think all of us would probably react the same way. But it just makes it so interesting is that Tomax and Zaymont digging around, looking for a way to break into any particular Joe's life, like doing the research. Okay, this particular Joe's behind his mother's in financial trouble with medical issues. Like, I love that they would take time to dig around to find that kind of info. And here they are in their corporate glory here. I only had one of the Crimson Twin action figures as a kid. I had Zaymont, and they came in a 2-pack, but one of my buddies, I think she had like 2 sets of them. She had a bunch of doubles, and she gave me Zaymont, I think.
And that was kind of neat how it's like they make sure to show you that the gun is under the table, pointed at him, ready to go.
It's just such ballsy action adventure stuff. Like, this is stuff you would see in an 80s action film at the time.
Yeah. It's like, oh, we're going to pay all of our bills, but you got to give us information that we can use.
Yeah. Of course.
And then he starts a bar fight.
Yeah. And just showing that Tomax and Zaymont are not to be trifled with regardless. And I love this gag here.
If only Dalton was there, man.
Yeah. And Terry Funk, break it off. And then she starts punching people and smashing bottles over people. Can't really do that here, but that makes more sense from a children's cartoon. Yeah, we definitely need to see the Crimson Twin. I just thought they're great characters. I really like them a lot. I mean, and I like how this script takes a lot of time to hammer home like Dusty's problems. Like, you're given enough time to really sympathize and build up. Like, it's not just okay. Like, he really stops and thinks about all this, And obviously, there's more to it as we see in the second part. But they do. Buzz Dixon did such a great job of building up like the constant debate in Dusty's head. I'm like, am I really going to do this to help my mom out? Shipwreck is featured prominently in both these episodes. Are you a fan of Shipwreck, or do you find him annoying?
He has a tendency to kind of ride that line and swing over towards being annoying.
Yeah. Which I always thought, like, his persona and voice sounded a lot like Jack Nicholson.
Hey, that looks like a real phone number on that card, actually. Yeah.
I dare you to call it. I'll give you a quarter if you call it.
Probably like some sex hotline or something.
Yes. Extensive extensions. Yeah,
he wants to make a deal. You can hear the reluctancy in his voice.
And it's even though like the second part validates everything that's going down right now, you still feel like, even though you know that Duke and Dusty settle this up, this is a very dangerous plan to participate in because, you can't afford.
Well, as you see, like it does for a little bit, sort of backfire on Duke and Dusty.
Yeah,
as we'll see coming up towards the end of the episode. It's just to what degree. If you were put in the same situation, what would you do?
Well, I would think, and I'm sure
I would go to Duke and I'd be like, I need a raise. That's what I would do.
And I do wonder, because all these Joes have got very individual background, or a variety of individual backgrounds. They all come from different scenarios and family backgrounds and things like that. I would think, as elaborate as G.I. Joe is, they probably, I would assume, but you know what? People in services like this, probably aren't. I don't know, because I don't know anybody who's served in the military, and obviously they're taken care of on the back end. But working for G.I. Joe, I almost feel like you're taken care of while you're out, on duty. But if you're off duty, you probably get paid vacation, and probably they have benefits for family and stuff. However, you do kind of feel like in this scenario, if you're dealing with something like this, family has medical issues, what do you do? And in real life, it's not like you can go to your boss at work and say, "Hey, look, I need a raise because my mother and father are dealing with health problems." So,
Cobra Commander's smacking his legs and laughing.
Cobra Commander is just like a big kid almost.
Yeah,
he loves. I mean, and it's good to see Cobra succeeding, even though part of this is part of the plan. And
I also think one cool thing about this is we actually get both designs of Cobra Commander. Like we have the helmet, but we also get him in the hood later on as well.
And not something you just saw a whole lot, but knowing that he would eat with the mask off, and he clearly is human, not the reptilian kind of like, which I don't mind because I love the G.I. Joe movie. We'll do a commentary for that at some point as well.
Yeah,
but
I think it's funny how the Joes have a weapon return. Like they just go and it's like, all right,
yeah,
it's kind of funny.
But I guess it does make sense, it's hard for me to picture like Snake Eyes turning in his Uzi and katana sword or anything like that. I was
gonna say you prefer Flint over Duke, right?
Flint is my choice. As a kid, I just thought Flint. I liked his voice. I liked his outfit. And Duke, like it's hard for me. Like I can't ever justify saying Duke is not the quintessential leader because he is. Duke is the leader of G.I. Joe. Or at least until General Hawk is introduced in season 2, and it's Hawk, Duke, Flint, Beachhead, and but I like Duke and I like Flint, but Flint has always been my favorite in terms of leaders. I like General Hawk a lot too, and I do like Duke, but as a kid, me and my brother both like, dude, no, Flint is the best. Flint's the badass. Duke's second banana. That's how me and my brother both felt. But Duke is essential. You have to have Duke, just as long as Channing Tatum's not playing him.
So he's like, how's mom? Oh yeah, there's still more bills coming in.
Yep.
Damn it.
And I do like the fact that they make a point to say they didn't expect to hear from Dusty. Like they felt like, okay, we've got one victory out of the guy. He's probably no use to us. And I like this the tension, like the fear that Dusty's from talking to Cobra Commander. And I think Dusty, like this is not just, obviously this is, we all know it's a plan, but for Dusty, you feel like you're watching this, you're like, man, he has to be scared out of his mind. Legit, this could go south anyway very quickly.
Yeah,
like any mistake could cause him to lose his life, his mom, and her caretaker. Like everybody's life's in jeopardy right now. Anything that's important to Dusty is in jeopardy right now. Going through with this plan, is extremely dangerous. But that's what makes it so good. It makes it very compelling. And knowing that Duke would keep it secret, even from Flint and everybody else that's on the Joe team, like just strictly Dusty and Duke are the only ones that know about
it. Like when you're watching the first part here, you don't know that.
No, and they do a good job of like really selling that, because Duke has to go along with this, because if the Joe team doesn't believe it, there's a good chance that Cobra may not buy it either. So that's a very dangerous thing to do. I mean, to really kind of encourage the Joe team to eventually turn on Dusty like that. Not everybody completely, because Deep Six and Lady J, of course, Shipwreck being the hothead he is. I always you'd see like small cameos of characters, like even though Stalker's not used a whole lot, it was good to see him, Snake Eyes here and there, Cover Girl. And that was so cool about this show. There's so many characters, and they did a good job of trying to mix up who's on the Joe team in this episode, who's working for Cobra in this episode. Is it just Cobra and the Dreadnoks? Yeah, I like this.
Yeah,
which I like that. It's just one of the more hammers home. Why do so many people sign up for Cobra? They got a great health plan. And like in the episode, the Viper, like they've got like recreational facilities all over the world.
Well, I mean that you got to keep those guys in shape, right?
That, and if you want them to do all this stuff, you got to be able to provide entertainment for them. I'm sure Cobra probably brings in like the finest strippers and escorts and all kinds of stuff, and probably has casinos. Like in the Viper episode, there's a recreation facility in the Antarctic, buried underneath the ice, where Cobra troopers just go and hang out, swim, play volleyball, play just pool, just have fun.
That's hilarious to think about. Yeah, we get our bumper.
And that voice that did the bumpers is synonymous with this show too. It's just part of the experience of watching it. It's there's Stalker and Roadblock. I always thought Stalker was a cool character. He was only used in like the small specials that came out that or like you got the Mass Device, Revenge of Cobra. I think he's used sparingly in that too. Then you got the there's another one too. Oh, Pyramid of Darkness. I don't think he's used as much in that one. I don't remember as much. And of course, setting up the big plot point of, oh boy, Dusty's actions have caused Duke to go into a coma. There's Spirit. I want to see Spirit in a movie.
Yeah, they wouldn't do it right.
And it's pretty cool too. Like I like the idea that, you know what, like they've got multiple underwater or water based characters on the Joe team. You've got multiple ninjas, multiple heavy artillery guys. Like I like the fact that they don't just have one specialist for every trait. They've got many. Like, I mean, you got Deep Six, Torpedo, Shipwreck, Wetsuit, heavy artillery. You got Rock and Roll, Roadblock, Heavy Duty. I always kind of think of like Gung Ho as like a heavy artillery guy because of his demeanor. This wouldn't be the only coma Duke goes into. I really do wish that they had really just ignored the pansy crying from kids in '86 and actually went through, because and watching the commentary, Buzz Dixon wrote this episode, who worked on the movie, said, when you see this, Duke is dead. He is officially dead when he's impaled by Serpentor's Cobra staff. It's like, yeah, just he's dead, man. Duke died, man. He's dead. Benedict Arnold. It's like, yeah, Dusty, rip him a new one. And I think Buzz Dixon likes the character Shipwreck too, which is why he's used so heavily in this episode. If I had the figure as a kid, I'd have been thrilled to death, because there's some, like when you and I were old enough to start grabbing Joes off the shelf, a lot of these characters have been discontinued, or they wouldn't show up again till like the Battle Corps or the like 91, 92. Like they re-released Dusty in a new outfit with like a kind of a desert-looking Green Beret outfit. But I think it's what made a lot of these characters so enjoyable, is because, well, we didn't have the figures of them. So it just made you enjoy them more, because we couldn't get figures of Tomax and Zaymont or Flint at the time.
Yeah, we were subjected to yard sales and flea markets. There was no eBay.
Nope. And whatever, classmates may have had at school, or hoping, because I actually got Destro, I think the third Destro that was released, that looked, I thought arguably probably looked the best, even though he didn't have the metallic mask on like the very first one did, but he came with like the disc launcher, and it looked just like the original Destro. So I was thrilled to death when I got that figure. Got it at KB Toys. So it was so cool to actually have a Destro to play with as a kid. But I can appreciate the fact that they just continued to keep making new characters and didn't go down that route like Kenner would do. Or let's keep releasing, another Duke. Here's Duke in underwater gear. Here's Duke in outer space gear. Like you were getting new characters every wave in G.I. Joe. Occasionally, yeah, you get a new Cobra Commander, a new Snake Eyes, a new Storm Shadow, but it didn't feel like, looking back, as overkill. Don't you just love Cobra's headquarters?
Yeah, no, it's pretty badass.
Yeah.
And there he is in his hood, which I always preferred over the helmet.
As a kid, I was always about the helmet. I just thought that was my absolute favorite. But I love both looks so much. I guess there's something a bit more menacing about the hood.
So Dusty is he's got life and hard labor in the can,
and it makes you wonder if Cobra hadn't went this far to break him out. You kind of feel like, what do you do now? Because Duke's in a coma.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of feel like Dusty is like, oh, what do I do now, man? Because I'm sure at this point he probably felt like I'm a legitimate traitor. Like Duke's the only guy that knows about it. No one would believe me.
Febmon says you always had that one kid who had all the big toys or a near complete collection, usually an only child. Hello.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Nathan was that. I knew a bunch of others that were like that. And I heard of other kids that I didn't know until later on that had, heard of stories of one kid.
You hear stories like, hey, that kid's got all this shit. And he's like this mysterious, weird kid.
A kid named Chris Barbetti who had the flag, the Eternia playset, and he was an only child. It's always only childs. Like, what is it with you only childs? Like Nathan showed me a picture, I think like Thanksgiving Day, of him getting the Havoc, the G.I. Joe Havoc.
No, that was actually that was Christmas that one year. My grandma got it for me.
Oh man, tremendous vehicle to get.
I was actually that Christmas I was renting the G.I. Joe movie a lot.
Oh yeah.
So I got a lot of G.I. Joe toys that year. But yeah, there's the end of part 1. I'll let the credits roll so the DVD menu will go back, and we'll talk a little bit, and we'll get part 2 going here.
Sounds good. Yeah, we definitely need to plan on doing the commentary for the movie at some point.
I need to get a copy of the movie. I do not own it.
It's if you get the Blu-ray, it comes with the DVD also, so that's worth investing in. I'll go ahead and get part 2 lined up here.
Oh man,
there, but an excellent first part to this 2-part storyline, and it doesn't let up. If anything, you could almost say the second part is even better than the first part.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Just like seeing what Dusty's going through working for Cobra, which is just so badass, and it's very limited. Like you don't see Destro show up or the Baroness or the Dreadnoks. It's a very small cast in this episode. And I think it's sometimes I would get spoiled sometimes because I would always like to see more characters show up in each episode. Like more the better. More Cobra officers. When I say officers, I mean like Cobra employees, like Destro, Major Blood, Storm Shadow. You always get excited when you see that. But as an adult, you can appreciate stories that don't use a humongous amount. Like you could draw them in the background, but the story, it's not a story that would really need to see Storm Shadow and Destro in this episode. And you could probably throw in Destro, someone would probably be arguing with Cobra Commander, like, why are you using this guy? Or something like that. But the Crimson Twins kind of play into that a little bit in the second part. But what are your thoughts on the second part before we head into it?
I like it better than the first one. It's cool seeing a Joe on the other end of the spectrum. And then just the nice little twist that we get at the end, because so far it's done a really good job of establishing that yes, he's the traitor, but there's more to the plan. But it is sort of amusing that it's sort of thrown at you in the last few minutes of like, oh no, but this was the plan all along.
Yeah, which you kind of feel like they have to go that route.
They're
not going to make Dusty a full out traitor. I could see that maybe go on in the comic books, maybe, but because the comics were very serious. But yeah, I mean they had to come up with something. But it doesn't feel like so much of a curveball. You feel like, wait, what? You want me to accept this? Because they do make a point, like Dusty doesn't kill Lieutenant Claymore in the arena fight, because he just says we can always use another guy on KP. Where Cobra Commander's questioning, like, why would you allow, you work for Cobra. We don't allow people to live. Obviously, you can't have people die in a children's cartoon, but for Dusty, it works as you're leading up to the big reveal that this was part of the plan. So,
yeah. And
you would think, too, that since he saved Claymore's life, like, Claymore's, like, got it out for him the entire episode. Like, there is no, like...
he's traitor, man.
Yeah.
He's traitor. That's... That's all you need, right?
Yeah. And that was coming up, the big, like, Piranha tank fight. That was I think the favorite scene for me and my brother both. Like, was just seeing the fight with, nunchucks, spiked nunchucks with piranhas. Like, that's a kick-ass fight scene for a children's cartoon, man. They would never do anything like that in anything children-related today.
Oh, of course
you just would not see anything like that. Especially knowing as a kid, you just kind of take it all for granted that piranhas, oh yeah, they would hurt, but you smack them off of you like that. You're like, you could buy that, but as an adult, you're like, that, geez, man, that's pretty messed up. You watch like Joe Dante's Piranha or the remake, or just know about piranhas in general, how dangerous those things are, and to think Cobra's just got them just waiting to throw out there for entertainment. Like, how often do you think Cobra Commander uses that arena? You know what? I'm in the mood for a fight. The guy who wins this fight is going to be Storm Shadow's apprentice or something like that. And the guy who doesn't, well, you're Piranha Feed. And it's just like, that's scary, man. But I like that, though. I mean, that's what makes him Cobra, is to see that kind of stuff. It's just fun to wonder about that kind of stuff, But if you're ready to we can go ahead and jump into part 2.
Yeah. Let's do this.
All right. I'll count down. 3, 2, 1. Yo, Joe.
Wiley Walt says you'd make a good Dusty.
God, I don't know. It's my southern accent. Oh. But, Dusty's a cool character. I would have, can I be Flint instead? Let me be Snake Eyes, because Snake Eyes is blonde hair. I just won't talk. There you go. Make me Snake Eyes. That way I don't have to talk. But I take that as a compliment, because Dusty's a cool character, so thank you.
I think you'd be like the equivalent of Beefcake or Red Rooster.
Shut to the hell up, man. Just for that, I'm making you Scoop.
Yeah, whatever.
Scoop sucks. Scoop is like the Steve Guttenberg of his Joe team, because he looks like Steve Guttenberg.
Yeah, Steve Guttenberg does kind of suck.
Yeah. I remember as a kid, my brother had the Scoop action figure. I'm like, this guy sucks. Look at this goofy look on his face. And he looks like Steve Guttenberg. So he would always be the guy that gets captured by Cobra and always be beat up by Cobra troopers and stuff like that. They got to go in and save Scoop.
What happened to Steve Guttenberg, man? Like, he was big in the 80s, and then he just fell off the face of the earth.
The second Casper film went straight to video, and that Mary Kay and Ashley Olsen ripoff of The Parent Trap, and just random stuff like that. It's strictly, I think, like Police Academy and Cocoon. I think that was his claim to fame, or those films. He definitely was. I guess
was he in Three
Men and a Little Lady and 3 Men and a Little Baby? Yeah, he's in both of them.
Yeah, that was what, him, Ted Danson, and Tom Selleck.
Tom Selleck, yeah.
I'm pretty sure I saw one of those in theaters because my mom's like, "Yeah, isn't it funny?" And I'm like, "Why do we got to go see this shit, Mom?"
I picture young Nathan probably. That's an exact quote.
Oh, Gutenberg.
Like, Nathan. I like this kind of bringing everyone up to speed with this news report. Think
about watching this as a kid, and you got to wait a week.
When I was watching this, they would play it once a day in the mornings before school. So me and my brother would watch the first part, and then we'd have to wait till the next morning before school to catch the second part.
Well, I imagine during its initial run, it was probably like a weekly thing.
Yeah, I think a lot of these, He-Man, She-Ra, Thundercats, Silverhawks, all this stuff is played, and of course Saturday mornings too. But it was in syndication during the week as well. I just had to go by when I was watching it, which was on the USA Cartoon Express, and they were playing both the Sunbow series and the Deke series. And you never knew what you were going to get. But if they would play a multi-part episode, they would make sure they played part 1 and part 2 of this. If they played the movie, they would take the whole week and break it up into 5 parts and be Monday through Friday with the intros with Sergeant Slaughter doing the opening and closings of the episodes. And you have to watch each one episode every day to get to the very end. And me and my brother both would sit down every day and watch that.
That's a line of dialogue. Even I want to break his neck.
Yeah. So you can appreciate that. This has not been a vaginified cartoon here, people.
But they're sitting there having to change all the codes and stuff because Dusty knows too much. That's got to be a huge pain in the ass.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. Just knowing, it kind of makes you wonder, when all this is said and done, and Duke comes out of that coma, how much of a headache and stress the Joe team has been through to cover up all this stuff. And here Dusty is thinking, I have to go through with this because Duke's in a coma. I don't know if he'll ever come out of it.
Yeah. And now it's this. It's like
here we are.
He's pissed. He's like, this is my unit. I want to fight you in the arena. And Dusty's like, what? And Cobra's like, this is perfect.
This is great. Let's see how much of a legitimate tough guy you really are, Dusty. This is such a great action sequence. Oh, man.
Meanwhile, I'm kind of getting the vibe that this dude has done this before.
Yeah, I figured Claymore's probably put in a lot of time as a Cobra officer, and has probably fought in the arena a couple times, which is something I wish they had gone back to revisit a few times. Like, this is messed up. Like, pushing him on the ground so piranhas can nibble on his back and neck, and
It's a shame that they can't show like blood,
battle damage. I think in the last episode we saw a little bit of blood on Duke's
mouth.
Like
just a smidge,
just something. Yeah.
Otherwise,
and realistically, these guys be covered in blood right now already. Man.
They're eating me alive. Like, yeah, you wouldn't get that today at all.
Nope. And this just reminds the kids that Dusty's not gone, full heel. That's how I look from behind. So yeah, I could be Dusty. I don't have that kind of thickness. I guess my hair is short right now, but yeah, I'll be Dusty. You can be Scoop.
Whatever. Doesn't bother me.
I always like the killer whales here, these vehicles that they're in right now. This is a badass vehicle. They're super expensive, though. Good grief. All this stuff was discontinued, too, when you and I came of age. It's
a bummer. But, I'm sure there were some things we came across, yard sales and shit like that.
Unfortunately, I didn't come across a lot of Joes at yard sales and stuff like that. It was hard. And, of course, we didn't go to a whole lot of them.
Oh, we went every Saturday.
Yeah, it wasn't something we had a few yard sales, but we actually never really. I think I went to one in Pennsylvania, and that's all I can really remember going to. There's the water moccasins. That's another cool vehicle.
Yeah, I might go out and do some toy hunting after this myself, actually.
Anything in particular?
No, I think I just might. I might hit up Old Fort and might hit up that place in town that's just kind of got like random stuff, but they've had. Yeah. That's where I got that gray skull at, even though like the inside there wasn't much in there, but I got it for really cheap.
Display piece.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, there's if I had the money and the space, and that's what kind of kills it for me a lot of times with a lot of like expanding my collecting, because I've still got all my Joes boxed up because I just don't. I got a small diorama on display in the other room, but I just don't have the room to really build up the Joe collection I would love to have. Because I mean, back when we were in high school, that's what I did in my spare time. It was He-Man, G.I. Joe, Thundercats, Turtles, wrestling figures. I mean, I was devoting space to all that stuff in my room. I mean, I'm pretty sure all that stuff was on display when you came over to my place the first time.
No, I remember also too at your mom's place, your wrestling display, because you had just like a shitload of them in that little tiny ring.
Oh yeah.
No, that was really cool.
Yeah, me and my brother both really big on building up like the wrestling dioramas and just showcasing all their favorite guys from like the Hardys, Chris Benoit, Kurt Angle, Edge and Christian. But it was so much fun going to Happy's back in the early 2000s and tracking down G.I. Joe figures, because the owner, we got to know him pretty well, and he would hook us up with stuff, and You know, we go down there, buy He-Man toys, Men on Card, loose, G.I. Joe figures, complete with file cards. And everything was reasonable, too. Like, we're going down on our allowance. And the guy would have layaway for us. He'd write us a receipt. We give him like $10. We come back the following Saturday and get a Men on Card web store out of layaway, or the Fun House on VHS. Put it on layaway. Come back the following week and get it. I'm sure he'd been scared to death to do this test for Cobra here.
Well, I mean, especially because you will, as we'll learn at the end of this episode, this isn't going to last.
No, that this formula is quite bogus, and it's only going to appear to work for a brief period.
Now he's been relegated to just cleaning the deck, so to speak. I
imagine that it probably is punishment for failing in anything with Cobra. If you're still alive, you're probably demoted to cook or custodian or anything.
Cleaning the shitters, man.
Yeah. It's like John Boyega in Star Wars. I was in sanitation. Isn't that funny, people? No. Just seeing Dusty in a Cobra outfit's badass, and it makes me wonder, like the character Mercer that we meet in the G.I. Joe movie, who is a former Cobra Viper. Like that's just something it's fun to visualize what he went through and decide, you know what, I'm not doing this anymore, and quits Cobra, and how hard it would be to actually quit Cobra. I say Cobra Commander is not always scared to hang back and let his troops do all the fighting. He's going in head first, leading this fight.
Well, his confidence is sort of at an all-time high right now.
He's with the formula on the uniforms and everything. Yeah, so he's a little bit more, he's got balls big enough to come in a dump truck. It's a shame like Destro is not here to see this, because Destro Baroness are always busting his balls about stuff. And I always like the pairing of Lady J and Flint. Like, to me, they're always a couple. And you got multiple fire related characters like Blowtorch, Barbecue, Charbroil. I always thought Barbecue was the coolest. I think he had the coolest outfit. But yeah, Lady J and Flint, I'll make that's just episodes where they're like the focal point. I always liked it because I liked her as a kid. I thought she was a cool character. I thought Scarlet was too. Like I liked the female characters in the show were like, you didn't feel like, oh, girls. Like it was like, no, they're cool, man.
Well, I mean, it was always like that in all of these cartoons growing up. Like I was never a thing where I'm like, oh man, female characters. Like no,
I wasn't either.
Yeah.
If I had been given like Scarlet or Lady J as a kid, I'm like, oh, kick ass, man. And I mean, that was so great about a lot of these shows, and it's quickly forgotten that, not just with G.I. Joe, but with He-Man and She-Ra and Thundercats, female characters were written pretty damn strong. And likable characters. Because Lady J is used prominently in a lot of these episodes, and I like her a lot. Zorana, Zartan's sister, she's an awesome character. So is the Baroness. I mean, there's no shortage of, presenting women as strong characters, but people don't have time to sit down and research and actually, think about what they're bitching about on social media today. How come there's no strong roles for females in movies and animation? Huh? I guess the new She-Ra cartoon fixed all that then, didn't it, people? Idiots.
I don't want to talk about that show
I don't
anymore.
either. I just find some way to give it the finger real quick. We get back to the good stuff here. Now, this for Dusty has got to be quite frightening. Like, he has to put up this front. And we're still at this point. He is not aware or under the impression that, he eventually is probably going to turn, and he does. But for the story point, you have to. But at this point, all this is going through knowing he may not live. It's just there's so many questions you could really, if you really want to think about it, that's what makes this 2-part episode so compelling.
Oh, look at that. It's like, it's a pleasure, sir, and gives him a salute. It's like, man, it's just
messed up, man.
You're still in this thinking like, all right, he he's full blown heel now.
Yeah, he's done it. He's led battles and assaults against Joe. I mean, and helped capture them, for crying out loud. So,
hey JSP, thanks for joining us, man.
All right.
Yeah, we got 7 people in here right now watching.
Holy hell! Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty good for capes and commentaries.
Absolutely. Man, with this kind of momentum, I think we'll have advertising by next week.
Yeah, right. With this momentum, I should actually stream some video games later today.
Yes, that's what you should do. You ought to play the G.I. Joe arcade game.
I need to lock down some arcade games on here that I can play. I definitely want to do WrestleFest.
Yeah, and Superstars.
See, I never I like
I played them
Superstars
both.
Was fine, but WrestleFest is where it's at for me.
WrestleFest is the better one. Yeah, I won't disagree with that. I like the sound effects, like being in the Formula Room like that. It's just all the attention to detail you see in this episode. If there was one thing, I probably would like axe that to a certain degree, because I know in the shows, oh, this is awesome. Slurping soup like that, has to put the mask because he's pulling an Amato. Not even Cobra officers and officials can see what Cobra Commander looks like. So now we know what Joe Amato goes through all the time. See, guys, even we don't me and Nathan, we're officers of the Cult of Amato. We don't even know what the guy looks like. Lays off to the side, slurping bottles of water and chimichangas and El Monterey burritos. He's got to put that mask on. What is the meaning of this? A podcast without my consent?
Did you guys mention this? Yes, we already did that, sir.
Yes, Joe.
I like that right there. It's just the noises they make just to hear just a bunch of guys. And I like the cape on him here. I really like it.
It's more prominent in the movie, but seeing it here, it's just a nice touch. When he's in his kind of look at me, regal moment here, he's going to throw the cape on. And there's your traditional grunt. And you see a bunch of them there. I like how they just took the character grunt from the first wave of action, but you just made that like like your standard like Cobra or G.I. Joe infantry troop. Like faceless almost, like all the same face, everything. Kind of like with the Cobra Troopers and Cobra Officers. Oh, man, what you going to do? Watch Cobra Commander get pissed here. You traitor! Because this could go wrong really fast, but... I love a Cobra Commander though. Like, it's such a dominant, like loudmouth villain that he is. He gets thrown around all the time. He's such a heel. Look, you're going to see a cameo by Duke here in a moment. Coming up here in a few minutes. Watch this. Duke's out of a coma.
Oh, man.
Just animation errors. I'm sure there's some prick on YouTube who does like reviews of this stuff and wants to tear it apart like it's some sort of, it's worth justifying a 30-minute video. Some gas bag know-it-all is trying to explain how Duke could have shown up in this episode. It's like, dude, it's an animation error. Shut the hell up.
I like here how they you kind of think that he's almost cornered and caught,
Yeah. I mean, it's even though we're kind of wrapping things up, it's still a great little action sequence to wrap up Dusty's redemption and to get his trust back to the Joes. Because as of right now, he still doesn't know Duke's going to be all right. So this is strictly working on to get his trust back with Flint and Lady J and Shipwreck. Bringing in a hiss tank.
And it's cool too because they still don't buy that they can trust him right now.
No, and why should they? Like, even though he's, and maybe in his eyes, it's like I'm trying to get redemption. Like, dude, you sold us out. I don't care what you do at this point. Like, yeah, it would be it makes sense that he would not be so easily trusted right now. Standard issue is tank top and boxers.
Well, there's going to be a part coming up too where it's just like I like that sound effect too. It's like everything just turns to turds, man. And they just start knocking him out, and then she pulls
his underwear.
Yeah, and she blushes because she just saw his asshole.
Yeah. She probably saw skid marks in there too.
That reminds me of a story.
Oh, I can imagine what story that might be. And it ain't basketball, people. Skid mark Steve. And Cobra Commander always makes the grand getaway. The Cobra troops are loyal. There's Doc.
Yeah, now they wrap it up here in the last minute to really let you know what went on.
Which, some could probably argue it's a little ham-fisted, but you know what? I think it still works. Because, if they're really going to push this, I think it's great that they spent so much time making Dusty look like an actual traitor. That's what made it so cool as a kid to watch. Like, wow, he really did turn. And it's good that they decided to make it a two-parter. That's something like that could have been wrapped up in one episode. No way. Joe's Cobra Commander. That's great.
Yeah, Fedmon said, I would hate to wear that hood if I had a cold. That thing would be one big snot rag. And it made me think, man. Like, I kind of wait for Joe one day to just sneeze into the mask. It's like, ugh, what do you do, man?
Oh, man. Yeah, it's like the nose constantly running and rubbing up against it. And, if you do have to sneeze, like, you can't, you have to lift the mask up to a certain degree and sneeze out. I mean, man. Or even Destro, like Destro's wearing that mask on at all times.
Yeah.
And he may leave like holes for his nostril to breathe out of, but still, you may get, chunks of snot up in that mask, because he can't take it off. But still, So things like that, you start thinking about that and skid marks in the underwear. You start taking away some of the, the
mystique of the characters.
The mystique, and and then you start Chris Pratting all over it, and it's not fun anymore. So.
Oh man!
But that is our commentary of both part 1 and 2. We got a little ambitious today and decided to tackle 2 parts in one episode, people. So you got more bang for your buck today. A little bit longer episode, but you didn't have to wait till the following week. If you wait on pins and needles for each episode, you don't.
Which I did.
Which I did. Yeah, we're recording Todd Grisham there when he got. You guys don't know what we're talking about. Look up the clip of Todd Grisham getting pissed off at TNA fans on YouTube. It's a classic.
Yeah, they call in. And TNA's clearly better.
Why are you calling our show retard? Why don't you call their show? I think it airs at 4 a.m. in Japan, if they have one. It's just constantly call it back when TNA was like barely on the radar, but it was an alternative to WWE at the time. So if you don't know what we're talking about, like Todd Grisham hates TNA, look that up on YouTube. You'll laugh your ass off. You'll be glad you did.
God.
I still like watching it to this day. It's just fun to look it up at random.
They used to like get away with so much on their online content with like Bite This and all those shows they used to do, and they don't really do that anymore. Like they do a lot of things where they have their backstage interviews for stuff, and there's some things I'm like, just air these on the show. It gives development to your character and gets people behind them. Like, do this.
Yeah.
No. Same old crap.
But I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm not sure. You still want to maybe dig back into something we've already done before?
I'll let you pick the property that we go back to, or something new for next week.
I know we had someone on the Pop Culture Network Facebook page wondering if we would ever do like Justice League. Maybe we ought to do like an episode of Justice League.
All right.
Maybe we could do the first part of the two-parter where Lex Luthor, I forgot what it's called. It's a great two-parter where Luthor teams up with the Joker, Star Sapphire, Solomon Grundy, the Humanoid, Shade, Copperhead, and it's got Mark Hamill back as the Joker. Oh man, it's so good. I think it's from season 1, I think. But if we do a Justice League episode, we'd have to do that because it's so good.
Yeah,
we'll do that then. We'll dabble in our first episode of Justice League next week.
Okay.
The good Justice League.
Fedmon says you need a tank top with the Cobra logo. And
I came close to getting one of those. I really did. I had it in my Redbubble basket of just a black tank top with the Cobra logo on there. So not that I hadn't thought about it. It's in my basket on Redbubble. I just haven't pulled the trigger yet.
And he says I need to remember friendship is magic because the pony. No, I'm never gonna live that down now. That's the thing. I need to bring Emily on here just to confirm with everyone that
and fall asleep live on the podcast.
Yeah, she does that a lot.
I can see her just like how fast she would fall asleep. Like she's sitting in like the computer chair behind you, just like kind of watching, and slowly she's like that interview with Jake Snake Roberts, Kevin Sullivan, and Raven, and Kevin Sullivan like falls asleep like during the actual interview.
Yeah. I don't see how she does it, man. Like we're laying in bed and 5 minutes she's gone. I'm like, I wish I could do that.
I wish I could do that fast.
I can't do it.
No, I can't either. I mean, it got to be like so tired where it's hard for me to actually keep my head up, like literally. Other than that, I have to be finessed, into falling asleep. I can't just pull an Emily.
Yeah. Something else.
But if you guys in the chat room, since we got a decent turnout, throw out some suggestions to us. We'll do Justice League next week. But if you guys got an episode of Thundercats, Transformers,
we've been suggested a Mask.
I don't have any of the I don't have the Mask.
I don't have any Mask either.
Yeah, it comes in. It's an expensive set on Amazon too. Like it's out of print, I think. I'm not opposed to it. I just don't have it. So we got Cops, we got X-Men. There's a Wolverine in the X-Men. I've got that entire series, which is great. I don't think it gets enough attention. We got Batman the Animated Series, of course, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Let's see here.
Super Friends was also suggested.
I
don't have any Super Friends.
I've got one DVD set of that. I mean, so that's a possibility down the road. Anything else?
No, there's nothing else that's popping up. But I mean, it's pretty much we've hit. Mask is on YouTube, seasons 1 and 2. So yeah, we can.
Oh wow, I have to do it because I have actually not watched an episode of Mask, to be honest, because I never had it accessible to rent or watch on TV. I never saw it in any video store to rent.
Well, let's do that the following week after Justice League. Let's do the first episode of Mask.
And, I say we do that. Yeah,
all right,
that's a good suggestion. That's what we'll do.
All right, Fedmon, you got it.
Yeah,
Mask is on the way.
Matt Tracker, Miles Mayhem. Yeah. We'll tackle Mask.
All right.
So we got your next 2 weeks of capes and commentaries has already been decided there, people.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how next week also pans out, and if it will be on a Saturday or Sunday. It sort of depends on how I'm going to be working or how I feel that day before going in.
Nathan just said, "You know what? I don't feel like doing this. We're done with this podcast. Podcast is over."
No, I would never do that. This brings me too much joy and happiness.
Yeah, I do too. I'm just glad that people. Thank you everybody who showed up to listen to the podcast today. No matter what time you showed up, how long you were with us, I appreciate people dedicating time to sit in on this commentary for G.I. Joe's The Traitor. Thank you. I really do appreciate that.
Fedmon also says Spider-Man 67 is also on YouTube.
I do have the complete series of that on DVD, so I'm not opposed to that one at all, because there's some good ones on that one, like the ones with Green Goblin, Mysterio, the Rhino, Dr. Octopus. Oh, the Lizard's one of my favorites because it's just like issue 6 of the Amazing Spider-Man. Yeah.
How about after Mask we do Spider-Man? We'll do an episode of Spider-Man 67. So bam, there you go. We'll do
the Lizard episode because I like that one a lot.
All right, the next 3 weeks.
How about that, people? We're like something to wrestle with, where we're giving you 4 to 5 months worth of material in advance.
Well,
ads. We don't have any ads for like Blue Chew and stuff for giving you boners and making your hair grow and stuff like that. Or insurance or
enter code CNC to get 15% off your first order of boner pills.
Yeah, maybe we could do like infomercials like Alex Trebek does for like senior citizens, like a Liberty Mutual, And it's like we just recommend people to send this info to their grandparents. We're not suggesting people who listen to this are old or anything, but hey, we'll take advertising wherever we can get it. If Liberty wants to call us up and say, "Hey, Alex Trebek's being a bit of a diva," we'll give you guys half of his salary. Deal done.
I wonder how much he makes for those.
Are you kidding? He's Alex Trebek. They probably give him a godly amount of money just to sit and talk to old people. Or like when they see those infomercials about selling gold. You need to invest in gold. Buy gold coins now, or something like that.
What a scam.
With like George Hamilton.
What a scam. Pyramid schemes, man. That's all that shit is.
Yeah. Maybe someday, guys, we'll be able to give you some advertising that will interrupt the flow of the show, and you'll be like, I wish the show didn't have advertising.
Fucking sellouts.
Yeah. Yeah, really. Like Matt Stone in basketball. Is this a big something now? He's starting a Hollywood movie.
You know what? I'm going to wear that jacket tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. Be sure that you do.
I will.
And Joe will wear his mask.
For our episode on the Toxic Avenger.
Yeah.
That'll be a lot of fun.
Tomorrow's episodes of Beyond Riches, the Toxic Avenger. You're listening now. Robbie London is confirmed for tomorrow night. So have questions ready for Double-Edged Sword, Donald Dragoon, working at Filmation, working with Lou Scheimer. He contacted me this morning. He's got some interesting stuff to share with us. He did some digging around, so it kind of worked out for the better. He's got more stuff to bring to the episode. So,
hell yeah.
Yeah. So it'll be a blast. So I recommend you guys tune in tomorrow at 9:00 Eastern time.
Yeah.
Or 6:50 or 7:00 or what? I don't know time zones right now.
You don't know time zones? If you're on the West Coast, it would be 6:00.
That's
Mountain,
right. Yeah.
Mountain time, I think would be 8:00 because I think that's only an hour behind.
Yeah, I think if you're like in Chicago or in like
and if you're in the Netherlands, like a couple of our listeners, I think you guys are 8 hours ahead of us. Yeah. So that would put it at like 5:00 in the morning. Something silly like that.
Just think of it this way: it's like wake up early in the morning to watch Little Rascals, like I did when I was a kid.
Fedmon says, "Bring Emily on one of these things and prove she exists." You know what? I have talked to her, and I think when I stream some video games, the plan is to bring her on a game that she's actually played and enjoyed, and I might actually have her play it. She'll probably turn that idea down because she'll be like, "You know what? I don't want to screw up while people are watching live," because she also has a tendency to like yell at the game while she's playing.
And this is a bad idea. Why?
I don't know. I just don't want to hurt their eardrums because it'll be, especially if she's sitting.
She's got just as much an acid tongue as Nathan does. So I think it needs to be encouraged that play something where you can really beat her bad at, and she just gets mad and frustrated like you, throws the controller down, stomps out of the room. She's like, "You're not getting any more cookies."
Man, there's still a shitload of cookies I need to eat. Those oatmeal raisin and chocolate chip. Yeah, and pumpkin pie.
You got to eat that pumpkin pie. She's going to kick your ass.
Yeah, that was the first thing she said to me when she walked through the door. "Did you eat any of that pumpkin pie?" I was like, "No."
It's got your name on it.
Yeah. Fedmon, it's 9 Eastern, 8 Central, 7 Mountain Time, and 6 Pacific. I don't know why I was thinking I confused Mountain and Central Time. I was thinking Central, but I said Mountain. I don't know why I did that. All right, man.
We'll see you guys next week with Justice League. I can't remember the name, but it's the episode where Joker teams up with Lex Luthor and the rest of the villains.
You heard it here. He doesn't know the name of something for once. But thanks.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to go the end spiel. What were you going to go ahead and say?
No, I was just like, it'll come to me once I look at them. Oh yeah, I think it's called like Brave and the Bold, or I don't know. Hell, I'm making it. Yeah, I don't remember the name, but it's a great 2-part episode. So
I would know anyway. Yeah. But thanks to everyone that joined us live in the chat. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit subscribe and ring the bell so you get notified when new videos are posted or when we go live. Check out the links down below if you want to download the audio. We got Podbean and iTunes, and I want to encourage you guys that are listening to us on Podbean and iTunes to hop over, give us a subscribe, support the channel. Even if you're not tuning in every week to it, just having those numbers, building those numbers, we would appreciate greatly. Check out Joe's Custom Creations and check out his t-shirts. And as we mentioned before, check out Fans of Power, the He-Man podcast that Tyler and Joe host every Sunday at 9 p.m. They're going to have a great guest this week. I'm going to be sitting on that one as well. So I guess I need to start thinking of some things to ask him, because Robbie London, check out his body of work on IMDb. He's an Emmy award winner. He's been nominated numerous times, but he's also worked on a lot of stuff, a lot of stuff. So we'll see how long that conversation goes. Because didn't you say that anytime you guys bring guests on, they're kind of like, I don't know how long.
I told him, I said, dude, we are not going to have a shortage of stuff. It's going to be hard to keep it under an hour. Like he said he would give us an hour only because he's worried he wouldn't be able to give us that much. Like, no. You have no idea who you're dealing with here, bud.
don't you know our side
doing segments on Dateline, man. I could bring the hardcore interviews. I bring the hard hitting questions. But nah.
Yeah. So we'll see how that goes. I mean, obviously, I know it's going to go well.
Oh yeah, it'll be great. So have questions, because he will answer your questions. So have a question prepared for Robbie London. No charge. We just want you to show up and have fun.
Yeah. And we'll see you guys next week for Justice League, and we'll see you tomorrow for Toxic Avenger and all the fun on Fans of Power. So until then, catch you later. Thanks, guys.
Later.